All right, it says I'm live, and my collar is all messed up or whatever. Oh well. Um, got a couple people in chat already. It looks like. Will's Hella Heat and Skull Aquatics. Hello. Um, if both of you are still here, uh, hello and welcome. I was trying to decide what kind of topic to put on this, what to talk about or whatever. But came up with the different ideas. I didn't post in the title what it was because I hadn't decided. But the thing that I've been thinking about most recently is swaps, because for the local Lexington club here, um, we're starting to get the ball rolling on our spring swap, getting stuff laid out and stuff. And there's Coro Works. Hey, Coro. But like so far, I've kind of like led the charge on getting the swaps together and stuff here. And usually I try to start 6 months in advance just to get a place and vendors and stuff printed up for marketing and stuff. And so this upcoming spring, working on getting a date set and then trying to get a place lined up. And the places we've been talking to have been like, oh, we don't book anything that far in advance. It'll be the first of the year before we can even talk about renting you a place. And there's Rico, gonna lurk but listening. Hey, that's great. I do that's what I do in a lot of streams is I just lurk. But yeah, getting the venue, and I tell you, a venue, it sounds easy. Just find a place to have a swap. But a lot of the places like that we have looked at stuff like that, and you got to understand we're a more rural area that we don't have a big pool like a large city like Chicago or something would have. Um, I was looking the other day, and I think of all of the fish clubs that I found that are uh, what I'd say actual fish clubs, not just oh, somebody's trying to call me. I love how caller ID will tell you it's spam. But what I call actual fish clubs, not just like a Facebook group that says they're a fish club that never meets or anything, but of the fish clubs that I was able to find and stuff, ours is in, I think, the second smallest population of a metropolitan area or whatever of the city that it's based out of. It's the smallest population, or the second smallest population. So we're pulling a lot of rural stuff. So as far as like getting a building to use, we can't really afford like something really expensive. And a lot of places that we've asked or that we've inquired about are like, oh, we do $1,000 an hour or maybe even $1,000 a day. It's like, yeah, we won't make anywhere near that to be able to pay for the building. So looking around and finding something that's a little more affordable. We've found something that we think is going to work and be affordable for us, and got the people that's in charge of it where say, well, even though it's against our policy to go ahead and book you this far in advance, and we're not allowed to, we kind of wrote you in on the calendar. The Whizzle Degenerate Fish Keeper lurking and hit the like. Oh, welcome, welcome. And there's Peplin coming in. Welcome there too, Peplin. But so now we've got the venue, let's say, penciled in. And so we're going to have the swap in Georgetown, Kentucky. So it's just the next town over from Lexington, which will save us from what we saw, probably about $700. So that's a good savings. We're going to do it April 20th. So anybody's looking to be in the Lexington, Georgetown area of Kentucky on April 20th and wants to go to a swap or sell at a swap, let me know. But that's what do you all think about swaps? What do you what would you like to see at swaps? And we're not talking like a big like Keystone Clash event. We're not anywhere near that level yet. We've attracted attendees from 3 hours away at most, but nothing like going 12 hours away, and it's not like an overnight type thing. We have pulled our first swap we ever did. We pulled people from up in the Keystone Clash area up in Pennsylvania and stuff, but that's just because I think it was towards the end of the COVID stuff and they were starting to open stuff back up, and nobody else was doing anything, and we hosted our first swap, and people came from states and states away because we were the only thing going on. All the big events were canceled. All the other swaps were canceled. But we don't have that ability now. It's the same weekend that we have ours. There'll be other stuff going on in other cities and stuff. But so something that like one of our members brought up was like they wanted to see something for the kids to do. So like the parents can go around shopping for fish, and the kids can be like at a table playing with toys or coloring or something. So we're going to look at something like that. And me personally, going to these things, not just me putting them on, but going to them, I'm thinking food, drinks, that type of stuff. With our local regulations and stuff like that, we wouldn't be able to do any alcoholic anything, but maybe just even if just bottles of water, because buying at these things, selling at these things, I'm talking to people and I forget that talking sometimes makes your throat go dry and all that. So having water, and if we're there half the day working and stuff, might get hungry for lunch or something. So some snacks of some sort. Welcome there, Sketty Nona. And we're just kind of talking swaps. I've been thinking today, we got the venue for our local club there kind of penciled in of where we're going to have it and when we're going to have it. So I've been trying to come up with ideas for other additional things to make it even better. Or if there's other topics that you all would prefer to talk about, hey, we can cover that too. I'm really doing this, trying to just get the hang of live streaming more often. I said 2 or 3 years ago, I want to live stream like the rest of these people. I'm going to start doing that. And I think in the meantime, I put maybe one stream out, and I just keep talking myself out of it. All right, Coro Work says one of the winners for Oktoberfest, not to be confused with Fishtoberfest, is combining tickets for kids' activities with the same tickets for raffles. Raffles, that's not it. So parents have more reason to buy tickets and enter the raffle. But that's more of a fair than a swap. I'm not sure how many kids' activities to have. Yeah, and maybe that's something that we can look at too, of making it not just a swap, but start building onto it as more. Because talking about the kids' activities and stuff like that. Part of why our club member brought it up was she said stuff like, "Well, I want to go do the fish swap, but I've got my kids and they get bored with the fish, and so I don't come because there's nothing for the kids to do, or I'll have to hurry in and buy something real quick and hurry back out." And we want everybody to feel welcome and even the kids to want to come to the swaps. And I know the Knoxville club, they changed the name. They stopped calling it a swap because they thought the name swap was more misleading. That it's more market, like farmers market style. That it's not you have to bring a bag of fish to get a bag of fish, and because they I think we're looking at maybe expanding it to include other things like maybe a aquascaping contests or something down the road. And I've been exposed to swaps for quite a while with different clubs, and most of them call them swaps. So it didn't. The term swap I never second guessed it or whatever. But that might be something to look at too. One year we talked about doing like a fish show at the swap. That didn't come together too well because people didn't understand what a fish show was, and that year we had it outside in the middle of May or the end of May. I don't remember which one it was, and it was like so hot that it wasn't pretty. Coro says, I would say that a flaw for Fishtoberfest this year, was like the only option for the vendors room. Yeah, loud, overwhelming, crowded, and the speaker room. Yeah, so everything was in one room. I've been to events like that, and I understand. I sold at an event where it was one room, that the stage up here, and all the vendors down the floor, and they had like concessions over here, and they decided to have a live band with dancing and stuff. And when the band started playing, I told the people I was with, like, might as well close up shop. You can't even hear us talking at beside each other at the table, let alone across the table to sell to people. Libraries have meeting rooms. They do. We used to meet in a library, and they had some really strict guidelines, like you couldn't have money change hands in the facility. You couldn't. You could only bring certain items in. You couldn't bring certain foods in. So it was pretty strict. And Zen came in. I don't know if I had said hello to Zen, but welcome, Zen Ginger. Coral says, I think you need a place to just sit and get away from the vendor room to decompress, if that makes sense. Mingle and then go back and buy more. Kansas City does. Skull says Kansas City does theirs in a church meeting room. Yeah, churches are good for that. We had our first 4 or 5 swaps at a church, and it worked out great. In the beginning, the church was letting us have it for free. They had room. They had rooms, multiple rooms. We could use the parking lot. They had tables and chairs and all kinds of stuff. And then there got to be a little miscommunication there, and we showed up to do the swap, and they had booked the facility for somebody else also, and told us, sorry about your luck. So we got creative on that one. But something else that people don't think about when putting together a swap is the tables themselves. Like, we have rented a facility before, and we rented the facility, and then come to find out they didn't have any tables or chairs. So then we had to rent the tables and chairs also, which doubled the costs there, that we weren't quite expecting, but I still made it work. But I like the idea of having like a vendor room type thing, and then a separate room for stuff. And in the past, it's been, our whole event has been the vendor room. We haven't had speakers, or we talked about having the show that year, and we kind of like canceled that last minute because nobody knew what a fit. Like, the people putting the swap on knew what fish show was, but to try to advertise out to the public in the area to, hey, bring your fish and enter in to win a prize, they didn't get it. So we got to do more education on that, I guess, promotion, a better way to communicate what that is. But so far, air swaps have been just like a vendor type of event, kind of like a farmer's market. You go in and there's people set up selling the stuff, and we haven't had speakers or contests or fish shows or anything actually occur. And we were kind of thinking, maybe start adding that in, or maybe there's something about the swap that swaps that you all would, you have seen or would like to see that we could try. Somebody once had mentioned inflatables, but I don't know how well that would go over, because we don't have like a lot of outside access to room. Not at their current place we've got booked, and then the inside room we're looking at more of like it's like an exhibit hall, but kind of imagine like a gymnasium with like a little kitchenette to the side. So that's the kind of size that we got. But they may have a second room that we could use for like a lounge type area. Big Steve's Aquatics and Exotics, welcome. So that's an idea to think of also. Zen says, fish competitions always bring people in. Competitive folks will come just because it's in the area and they think they can win a trophy or a prize. And maybe what I need to do is I need to get Scuba Steve in on it, and get him to bring some of his fish down, and get the word spread that way that we got to come beat the champ, or try to beat the champ, that he's award winning in multiple events already, or something like that. Yeah, and he's not too far away from where this swapper event would take place, maybe an hour away. Let's see. Coro says, set up a bunch of those stationary blender box and have the kids get their energy out making margaritas. Blender box. I don't know that I've seen those, but it sounds cool. um, we have done like silent auctions before, but I like the idea. It was mentioned earlier about a raffle, so I like that idea also. Um, and another benefit to help us out this year, we've got all of our uh, legal paperwork finalized and T's crossed and I's dotted and stuff, so that we're listed with the government and all that kind of stuff as an actual nonprofit, not just a organization. So that would help with, manufacturing stuff, donating products towards auctions and raffles and that type of thing. So we might look into that. I don't know. I don't know if the blender box would be as doable, but maybe trying another auction or a raffle, because we had looked at raffles before, but in Air State, uh, there was some legality about who's allowed to do raffles, and that you'd have gaming licenses and that type of stuff. But nonprofits have like a little, I don't call it like loophole to get past that, but it's a clause or exemption or whatever that they can work raffles and stuff as well. Let's see. Coro says local shops and major online retailers will donate towards raffles. Usually, it can be a hassle to set up, but as long as you aren't asking for straight money, store owners are usually pretty receptive. Yeah, and I've seen in the different clubs that I'm involved in, and in the different towns or cities or whatever you want to call them, there's been different feelings about clubs from the shops. Mostly they're all supportive and how can we help, and yeah, it's good to see a club. A few of the shops have been very negative about clubs, that they think the clubs are their competition, which me personally, I don't believe that's the case. I believe it's the club isn't there to make money off the people. It isn't there to sell products and stuff. I think a club and a LFS and other stores for that matter can actually work together, that the club can point people towards the stores and the stores can point people towards the clubs, because they do different things. Clubs are more for education, teaching people about the fish and husbandry and that type of stuff, whereas the fish stores and retailers are more for providing the products and selling the livestock. If I keep glancing this way over here, that's because that's where my 55 is, that I've got my Pearl Danios in, and they are doing some pretty active breeding behavior. So I might have to work on actually intentionally trying to breed those later. Let's see. Most of the gaming type places that aren't licensed, I believe, give out gift cards or direct merchandise. Money is when it becomes an issue typically. Yeah, we didn't want to take, like, before we got everything like legalized, like finalized or whatever with the government, as a nonprofit, we didn't want to take any risks because they're real tricky about their wording and all that kind of stuff. That the way they've got it phrased or whatever, that if there's not skill involved and you receive anything, it's considered gambling, which I don't personally agree that that's gambling, but that's the way that they were interpreting it in the state. Because they also interpret that like arcades, like the pizza places that have the big arcades in the back that you play the games and get tickets and go turn the tickets in for prizes. They say that that is skill. The arcades require skill to get the tickets. When some of them is just like you pull a lever and it spins and gives you 100 tickets. Well, that's skill induced. And then they also say that the prizes that are given in the arcades are of no value, which some of them, in my opinion, are of some value. But we didn't want to tread that line too closely and ruin it for the whole club. You know, getting legal issues and that type of stuff. But now we don't have to worry about that because we've got the paperwork and all that finalized. So that's definitely an option for us now. The maybe getting some donations from local shops or online retailers or manufacturers or something like that. Not only as a donation to the nonprofit, but also, you know, the business would get a form of advertising from it also, that we can say this product was donated by this store or something like that. But yeah, we're also trying to incorporate more of a technology type thing into it. That in the past we've just said, give us a call if you want to sell, or you know, send me a message and I'll sign you up, and then just pay me later. You know, bring me the money or whatever. We haven't had the, you know, online sign up online, pay online, that type of thing. So that's what we're trying to incorporate this time too, is have like a online form with a connection to like a payment system like PayPal or something like that, which we're not as tech savvy as I'm sure some of you all are, that we're trying to figure out. It took 3 of us like a couple of days just to figure out how to get the PayPal working for the club. Let's see. Arcades actually get in trouble for not being skill based enough. Same thing with the carnies. Yeah, I can see it because I have no skill at all, and I win some of those tickets. The Pinball Museum has a lot of trouble because of it. Now, see, some of the arcades I could see being skill based, like if it's like a shooting thing, or even like skee ball. You roll the ball into the little hole, and you have to know the speed and the angle and all that. But there's one that I take my kids to that, you know, it's basically, they call it fishing, but you pull the lever and the little fishing reel spins and lands on a number. They don't do prizes at all anymore. Yeah, a lot of the they had a big crackdown here a few years back with like, it wasn't like slot machines, but it was like the little machines that you put a quarter in the top and it falls down and it moves back and forth, and if it hit it just right, the multiple quarters would fall at the bottom. They had a big crackdown on those. They had gas stations that had some of the like poker machines in it. Yeah, coin pusher machines. Yeah, that's what it's called. And they busted a lot of like gas stations and that type of thing for having those a coin pusher machine in there, and find them for gaming without a license. And like some of them, even some of the like whole gas stations got shut down because they had too many of the uh, poker machines or coin pushers or whatever little machines they had operating. Because like that particular gas station that I'm having in mind as the example had like they did gas station, they did kind of like a mini grocery store and like a grill type thing where you could go in and order a burger and they cook a burger for you and sit down and eat it. And they had a couple of the little game systems set up, but the whole building was shut down for I guess 6 months. Let's see, one of the bars near us got in trouble with that. Turned out they were bringing over 300,000 a year from their video poker room. Oh well, yeah, that's a bit of a haul from that. And none of these places that I can remember had like an actual room for it. It was just like down the wall in the rest of the store or in that restaurant part. Um, but around here, the lottery, the state lottery, is one of the biggest sellers. Um, we are a poorer state economically, and people spend a lot of money on gambling and like the gaming, like slot machines, that type of stuff. In addition to lottery, when it's lower income. Yeah, tuck them away like an ATM. Yeah, sometimes an ATM feels like a gambling machine. You go up, it's like, let's type the number in and see if I've got that in my account. I know I used to be that way. I'm not so much anymore. Um, if I don't quit blowing money on fish and tanks and dumb stuff, I'll be like that. Speaking of buying dumb stuff or thinking of buying dumb stuff, the last couple of days I've been thinking about getting like a huge, like what they call like solar generators or power banks or whatever, like a battery bank for um, for like the fish room. Like it's I don't like cold weather, but it's getting cold weather here. And I say it's cold weather, and some of y'all are like, oh, we do -17 all the time, and it's just in the 30s right now, 30s and 40s, but still to me that's cold. But anyways, that's got me start thinking, well, the snow's coming and we don't lose power as much as we did when I was a kid, but it's still an option to lose power. And I've got how many ever fish tanks out there in that fish building that are running air filters, and some of them have power filters, and most of them don't have heaters. They're running on ambient room temperature, which is pretty warm. But I've been thinking about, if we were to lose electric, maybe I ought to get a big power bank thing as a backup. But then I'd be back to the ATM as a gambling machine of, do I have money in the bank account now because I spent too much on this power bank thing? I hear you, Coro, saying my grandma's screaming down from above, balance your checkbook. And I don't know that they do anymore, but I took I dropped out of it, but no, I didn't drop out of this one. I actually finished this one. Took a class in high school that included balancing checkbook. It was a business class. I dropped out of the typing class. Same teacher, same room, just but it was a class on business, and one of the things was balancing checkbook. And I don't think they even teach that anymore. Because I don't know, do people use checks anymore? I do twice a year to pay my taxes and my licensing and stuff. But everything else is like online, debit card, or cash. Am I handy with electrical at all? Depends on your definition. I did all the electric in that building out there. Probably 1% of it would be to code. If that, that's being very generous. I have hooked stuff up before and been like, why is it not working? And take the whole thing apart, and it's because, oh, I didn't put this wire in this hole. So somewhat with electrical being handy, I guess. Maybe. Same thing with like plumbing. I spent over an hour yesterday trying to move a water line that far, and I think I ruined about $12 worth of fittings because I kept doing it wrong. Because I wasn't thinking. Zen Ginger says everyone uses QuickBooks and their bank account tracking online now. Yeah, probably. I've had the bank account that I have now, I've had it for probably 25 years. And just this month, or the end of last month, I think, figured out how to do the online, even access the online thing. So I'm not, I used to be tech savvy and stuff, but I'm not anymore. All this apps and widgets and all that lost me. Let's see, Coral says, I mean, low voltage. Cramp on connectors. So I don't know if it's supposed to be cramp or clamp or crimp on connectors, that sort of thing. You wouldn't even need to interface with the breaker box likely. Yeah, and I think I could figure out how to build a battery bank. And I've been looking at it, but then I've also been thinking, for what I would build, by the time I bought all those batteries and inverters and stuff, would it be cheaper to just buy something? And then it's like, but then do I really need to spend that kind of money on this? And here I am starting talking about battery backups when I haven't finished my. Okay, do I need to name the stuff I haven't finished? I haven't finished the auto water change, and the auto water change is number one. Let's do that. I haven't finished the outdoor lighting, but so many things. Nancy B in Tennessee. Welcome, Nancy. Let's see, I still use checks if dealing with the small business, vets office, tree trimming, plumbing. Credit card fees suck. Yes, they do. And used to, or at least around here, the businesses would absorb the credit card fees. When I owned the pet store, it was, we absorbed that fee because it was just a part of doing business the way I saw it. Like, I pay business taxes, I pay a fee for doing business in that town. But I didn't charge extra to my customer for that. It was built into everything. And now a lot of places are like, if you're paying by card, you're going to pay an extra $3 or whatever. And I think that that's, in my opinion, wrong. That if you're going to take cards, great, you're going to make better sales because more people are going to use their card. That if you need to adjust your prices, that's the way to do it, instead of charging the individual more because they're using a method of payment that will make you more money in the end anyways. Let's see. Carl says, and if you don't want the solar, then just buy an uninterruptible power supply for the air pump. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I would like solar, but I've put in a few solar things here where I live now, and apparently I've got too many trees and they don't work. So they work for a little bit, but not full strength, and then so it might would be just a battery bank thing that um, I need to quit reading ahead. Like a battery bank thing that I would charge up, and then just it would run off that until I could charge it back up. Um, let's see. We absorbed the fee until my boss found out they didn't have to legally. Yeah, and I didn't have to absorb the fee, but I thought it was the right thing to do. That running a business, there's fees for everything. There was a fee to have a sign on my building. There was a fee to put the sign up. There was a fee to get my electric inspected that they required to be inspected. And I had to pay all those fees. There's a fee to get the fish shipped in, but I didn't charge my customers shipping on the fee or shipping on the fish because that's just a part of it. That's communist talk. Be careful. Next, you're going to be saying tipped workers deserve an hourly wage too. I'm trying to debate if this is going to be like a political statement. I don't think it's a political statement because I believe both ways on this. I don't think there ought to be tipped workers. But then again, I do think that everybody should be tipped, or everybody should work on commission if you're in sales. But you shouldn't do tips. I don't know. I guess I don't know what to think about that. Because I think if you say my stuff is this amount of money, it should be that amount of money, and then I got to figure out, I got how much this percentage is or that percentage is based on service and all that. And it's got to the point now that people they don't do anything and they expect 25%. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing, I guess. But I do think commission encourages work. So, oh well. And that doesn't seem political. I don't think we should use pennies anymore. And that's not a partisan issue, but it won't get passed. And I guess I'm just stuck with thinking, well, how do we do it without pennies? But I mean, how do we do it without half cents? Same type of thing, I guess. Because I'm like, well, how do you figure out 53 cents if you don't have pennies? You just don't have 53 cents. You do by the fives, I guess. I don't know. I just figure a base 10 math, or I guess it's called base 10. It's been a while since I've done that type of math stuff, but a number system that runs on units of 10. We go 1 through 10. We got to figure out how to do 1 through 10. But we could do it on fives, where I'm just hard to figure that out, I guess. Gas stations charged by the 10th of a cent. I guess they still do. I haven't paid any attention. I know when gas was under $1, yeah, it was on the little marquee or whatever, but I think anymore they don't. Around here, they don't put the tenths of a cent on there on the big signs. Gas is a whole nother story, though. $3.39 in the town that I live in. 2 towns up, $2.66. Identical product. I don't get it. And all the stations in the town that I live in are the higher price. The 9/10 of a cent adds up, yes. Yeah, every little drop adds up. I haven't ever thought of that. Get the 10th of a cent back. That's a good thing. If they're charging the 10th of a cent or 9/10, will it only kick off when that 9/10 adds up to a full tenth or 10/10? And my state isn't one of the states where it's illegal to top off or whatever it's called. So I just roll it up to the next 10-cent mark or whatever. I know some states it's illegal to do that. Some states it's illegal to fill your vehicle up yourself. Well, maybe I'm doing okay at the live streaming thing. I've been talking for over half an hour. Not necessarily about fish, but hey, I know some of these other streams that I watch or watch replays of, or never mentioned fish one time, and I still watch them, still listen to them. So I'm hoping the practice here of doing this will make it easier for me, and I'll stop making excuses, and I can make the channel what I want to make it, of being more interactive in the streams, getting the videos actually out, and the shorts. I want to do shorts too, but I feel like with the shorts I need to be flashy and trendy and all that, but I'm not flashy and trendy. I'm wearing gray with gray because gray with gray goes together, right? Somebody asked me what my favorite color is. I'm like, it's black. It goes with everything. It's not flashy. So I don't know. And I keep getting distracted looking over here at these stupid Danios doing their little twirling together. Fishy stuff. Good. There we go. Thank you, Nancy. Checked in on Madocas tonight. They're doing good. It was down 23 last night. Yeah, I got too scared. Went out to my pond one day, and I may have told the story before, but it was like upper 30s, upper 40s, whatever. And I don't know what was going on in the pond. It's like the actual in-ground goldfish pond. All the goldfish were like laying on top of the water, not moving at all. And I panicked and brought them inside. And because they were acting weird, I brought all my tubs inside. The Madocas, the white clouds, I just got scared of it. But the plan was to have the Madocas outside, have the white clouds outside, because they can supposedly overwinter in this region. I chickened out this year. Next year, we'll see how it goes. I did impulse buy a greenhouse. It's still not assembled, but I impulse bought a greenhouse to put tubs in. So I might get that put together. Hopefully make a video of it. I didn't make any videos of my tubs or pond this year. Let's see. Coro says, I think part of it is I can't read. I think part of it is just putting content out, even if it's not good. Yeah, I agree. But I talked myself out of it. It's like, oh, that's not a good video. I'm not putting that up. Or I don't have time today. I've only got 6 hours. I need more than 6 hours to make a video. Black doesn't go well with dog hair. Well, maybe it. I'm trying to decide: is there a color that goes better with dog hair? But I currently don't have to deal with that. Um, I currently don't have a dog. Um, that's one of my arguments for having fish. That I'm at work too long to take care of a dog. That um, if the fish poops in its tank, it's okay. A dog, on the other hand, I, I'm gone for 15, 16 hours or more sometimes, and that's not fair to the dog to have to be um, away from a human or not getting taken care of for that long. Even if it's just a short of the Daniels doing the breeding dance and whatever music YouTube recommends. Yeah, I need to do that. Look up some of those Harbor Freight greenhouse hacks types of videos if you want ideas for how to make a greenhouse kit better. I know a lot of people put cinder blocks, the foundation base layer. Yeah, I've looked at the videos, and I'm a procrastinator, so it was real easy to click on the button to order the thing, and it showed up. And I went to said, "I'm gonna put it right here." I carried the box over there and laid it down, and it has laid there for 30 months. So I'll get around to it one day. Let's see. I have some inside, 40 something outside. I'm going to try to keep them out. There was about half an inch of ice this morning. I was glad to see them swimming so close to the top tonight. Yeah. Yeah, I chickened out this year. And part of it was I didn't think I had many white clouds left. I thought they all died until I emptied the tub out, and there's like a million babies in there. But by that time, I'd already had them in the building in the heat. I didn't want to take them into the heat and then back out to the tubs. And I knew I didn't have many Madacas left because I could see them, and I guess I put the birds or whatever mammal. It was some sort of mammal that was getting in there because it shredded the mop. Coro, referring to the greenhouse, makes the kid a bit taller and things, which I don't know how tall this one is because they put it together, but I think it's 7 feet in the peak. So being taller would be good because I could stack stuff. Zen Ginger says, at least the stuff that leaves a stain doesn't really show on black, except the grease stains. And there's the lint rollers. The thing that does show stains on black is bleach. And I found out the hard way. I didn't know what I was doing wrong. Bleaching my shirts when I was going to the fish room, but apparently Prime has a bleaching effect. If you spill Prime on your clothes, it can bleach the color out. I didn't know that until I don't know if it was in a stream or a video or whatever, and somebody said that, and I went and looked it up, and sure enough, that's what I've been doing. Because I don't use Prime as much anymore because I have the carbon block out there, but in the house I haven't put a carbon block in here yet, so I Prime here. Nancy says, had a heron take a bunch of the shiners, some Adacus this summer. Oh, that's not good. Is that a stain per se, or removal of all the color? Okay. And under that same argument, can black be my favorite color because is black a color? Herons are neat. I had a community heron at a place that I used to live. Was it great blue haired or whatever, big gray looking one. It'd come and hang out in the creek behind my house and go fishing and that type of stuff. It was cool. I don't want one of those in my ponds and tubs and stuff. Had frogs last year. This year I had tadpoles, but the tadpoles didn't bother the fish or whatever. And the frogs only got, well, I say the frogs only got in the big pond, but there were tadpoles in the tub, so they had to get in the tubs at some point. So we're saying black's a pigment, and bleach is the anti-stain. Okay, I can see that. In art, black is like all the colors, but in light, it's none. So maybe. But maybe even in light, black is all the colors. Because is that the way it works? That all the colors are absorbed? None is reflected back to you, so you don't see any of the colors? No, you're right. So it's none. Let's see. It's the last house. I had one that hung out at the creek often. So similar to my story there. Yeah. You same story I had. I wasn't keeping. Did I have fish at that house? No, I didn't have any fish tanks at that house. I was trying to be a farmer there. Yeah, white is all the colors. And there's Brandon. Well, hello. Never got frogs in my outdoor tubs. I don't know if the fish are eating tadpoles or what. I had leopard frogs this year, and last year, I'm pretty sure it's tree frogs devastating the tubs. This year, I don't know what type of frog it was, but it was like that big and bright green. It was in one of my tubs. It got relocated to a tree because I assumed it was a tree frog. We've come quite away from me trying to start the stream talking about, trying to set up a swap here in Kentucky to talking about great blue herons and frogs and tubs and stuff. But that's good. That shows I can talk for an hour, and which means I'm almost to the hour now. I've got a couple more minutes, and that was my goal for tonight, was to go for an hour and push myself to actually do it, because on the drive home from work, I'm like, no, I'm just going to cancel when I get home. I don't feel like it. A rough day at work. But then I talked myself into it. I'm like, nope, I can do it if I can listen to somebody talk about nothing for an hour. I can try to talk about fish for an hour. I've seen tree frogs change from bright green to dark brown and gray just from light and environment. Yeah. When I had the pet store, the different tree frogs would change more than the chameleons would. That they would change to match the environment or with their mood or whatever. But so I'm going to try to do this again next week. So I might go ahead and set it up today to push myself to try to stream again at 7 o'clock next week and not talk myself out of it. Nancy had a ton of frogs and toad eggs in the tubs this year. Just put them in a kiddie pool and let them grow up. They can eat bugs, not fish. And I found out this year that toad tadpoles are poisonous. That if something eats a toad tadpole, it can poison them. Thank you, Coro. Glad to see me and keep streaming. I feel accomplished that I've done a couple of streams now. That was my goal. a couple years back was to start streaming because it looked like so much fun and I wanted to do it, but I procrastinate, talk myself out of it. So I'm gonna, I guess, go ahead and start working on posting next week's stream and figure out if I want to try to do it for a topic or something like that. But I'll go ahead and sign off for now, and thank everybody for showing up and hanging out with me for an hour and listen to me talk about nothing. Skipper, you're making it hard on me. Show up as I'm saying goodbye. But I'm sure somebody else is live that we can move over there. Because I'm going to have to get off here and actually start preparing for a 3 a.m. work day tomorrow. So I'll be lurking as I'm watching other streams. But the celebrity shows up and right at the end. And I'm trying to work to make it a consistent thing if it's going to work for me. If this time's going to work and stuff. But if it's going to be the same time stuff, yeah, I'll get it on the calendar and all that. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off and stuff, or I would keep talking and never get lunch prepared for tomorrow and everything ready before I have to go to work. So thanks everybody for came out and watched, interacted. Anybody that's catching on the replay, thank you also. And we'll see you next time.